The information provided in this episode is provided for general informational purposes only and may not reflect the current law in your state or country. By watching and listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as legal advice and no attorney-client relationship between you, the host, or guest. You are advised to seek legal counsel concerning your legal question or concern from a lawyer licensed in your state, country, or appropriate licensing jurisdiction.
Good evening, USA. Good morning, Philippines. Hello, Texas. Good afternoon naman sa Australia. And I think good evening sa Canada. And saan man kayo naroon, magandang araw o magandang gabi sa inyo. Hello to all the Filipinos wherever you are in the world. Welcome sa Usapang Off the Record. I am your host. My name is Aileen, Ligot Dizon. I'm an attorney licensed here in the state of Texas and in the Philippines. And I'm the managing partner of Ligot Dizon Law Firm based here in Houston, Texas. And of course, mapapanood at mapapakinggan nyo kami dito sa Usapang Off the Record every Friday, 9 p.m. Central Time. That'll be 10 a.m. in the Philippines. So kung na-miss nyo kami last Friday, syempre naman nandito kami ngayong Friday naman. Sa susunod na Friday, magkikita-kita ulit tayo dito. So every Friday yan. We are, of course, live stream via 𝘬𝘯𝘰𝘵 Radio Pinoy, Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also sa Ligot Dizon Law YouTube channel. Then, mapapanood tayo. So like and follow us so you will be notified of our upcoming live show, ang upcoming live show ng Usapang Off the Record, and also yung mga live show pa sa 𝘬𝘯𝘰𝘵 Radio Pinoy. Abangan nyo rin yun. Kami rin ay mapapakinggan nyo via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Casts, and Listen Notes. Kaya naman kung hindi nyo kami makasama sa live show, you can watch the recorded live show sa YouTube and Facebook page ng 𝘬𝘯𝘰𝘵 Radio Pinoy, or pakinggan nyo na lang kami sa ang aming podcast para you can multitask while you are listening to Usapang Off the Record. Of course, we try to make this very educational. We try to share legal knowledge to all of you. You may need it now, may not, but obtaining legal knowledge well, at some point, you may find use for that knowledge. It may be your needs, or your personal need, or other people's need. So yeah, it's a legal discussion here. So it's basically we talk about legal topics that could also affect your life at some point. You'll never know. So, if you are joining us here on the live show, you may post your comments or shout outs to your friends and family, and I will read them throughout the show or during the show. And if you have questions based on what we are talking about, or our topic for today, you may post it as well, and I will read the questions. I will address the questions during the show. Okay, so post lang dyan. And of course, our topic for today, kakaiba naman sa naging topic natin for the last 4 weeks, no? We've been talking about estate planning, probate of a person who passed away without a will and with a will. So now shift naman tayo ulit. Balik tayo sa divorce, but this time, intersection ng divorce and immigration, okay? So, our topic for today is siyempre pag-uusapan natin ng divorce and immigration. Okay? So, ngayon, to guide us sa ating discussion, I prepared some slides that could help us understand better the topic or the discussion that we're going to have today. All right? And so, let me share it with you right now para masimulan natin agad. Of course, habang I'm trying to pull it up. Bumabati ako sa mga taga Puerto sa mga taga Cavite, sa mga taga Bicol, of course, Pangasinan, yan, and Baguio City. Ayan. Here we go. Yan. So here's the first slide. Like I just mentioned to you earlier, we are going to talk about immigration and divorce, or divorce and immigration. So there is an intersection of the law there. There's a connection between divorce and immigration. Of course, alam natin, and I have mentioned in the past that divorce law is a state law. So it varies from one state to another. But when it comes to immigration, the application is throughout the U.S. nationwide. So kaya pag if you're practicing divorce only, then you have to be licensed in that state where you are practicing divorce. But if it's an immigration, then as long as you're a licensed attorney in the United States, you can practice immigration law because it's a federal law anywhere you are. So kaya may mga clients tayo na nasa ibang states, Florida, sa Las Vegas, sa California. So yon, because immigration law is federal law. Yan, but divorce, state law yan. May pagkakaiba o pagkakahawig ang bawat state. And even in, of course, Philippines, walang divorce law pa dyan. So, but who knows anong mangyari in the near future, di ba? Okay, so in our discussion sa episode natin ngayon sa Usapang Off the Record, pag-usapan natin, what do you need to know about divorce and immigration? Kasi bakit nga ba yun ang topic natin ngayon? What is the connection between divorce and immigration? What do you need to know? Specifically, the question, how will divorce affect your immigration status? Okay? And pag-usapan din natin, okay, malalaman natin, ano ba yung pwede nating dapat malaman tungkol sa divorce and immigration, and how it will affect how will the divorce affect your immigration status. Pag-usapan din natin, how can you protect your immigration status in case nga mayroong divorce. And pag-usapan din natin yung mga pwedeng possible issues na connected to divorce and immigration if ever you are trying to immigrate to the United States, trying to get a green card, and then you got divorced. So ano ang pwede mong magawa? Ikaw na immigrant at yung US citizen spouse mo or permanent resident spouse mo. So pag-uusapan din natin yan. Okay? So ngayon, simulan na natin, of course, di ba? Para marami tayong mapag-usapan ngayong araw na ito. Kung mapapansin nyo, mag-isa na naman ako ulit ngayon sa show ko, di ba? Pero malapit na tayong hindi mag-solo. The plan is, since we are talking about divorce and immigration, we are actually shifting towards the discussion on immigration. So bangan nyo, sa susunod na episode natin, we are going to start focusing on immigration. So mga issues surrounding immigration, not just related to divorce, but immigration as a whole. So, okay. So tingnan na natin itong slide natin, The first question that you see there, that that we have there on the screen, is, what do you need to know about divorce and immigration? As I've mentioned earlier, divorce law is a state law, but immigration is a federal law. So paano nagkakaroon ng intersection yan? Well, example, you are immigrating here, okay, through a marriage to a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, an LPR, legal permanent resident, um, and then it's of course through marriage, and then after some time, the marriage didn't work out, and you have to separate. You have to file a divorce, and get a divorce decree. And in the process, syempre, you are still trying to obtain a permanent green card, to become a permanent resident of the United States. And then later on, of course, to naturalize and become a U.S. citizen. But yun ang titignan natin ngayon. So, basically, you will be most likely interested or affected by the divorce if you are in the United States on a visa that was granted based on your marriage to a U.S. citizen spouse or person. And of course, a divorce may affect your lawful status kahit na nakakuha ka na ng green card dyan, and your ability to stay in the United States pag nagkaroon ng divorce. So that's how you're gonna look at it right now. So that's why if you are in that kind of situation, you may want to think first and consider whether or when to get a divorce. So whether you're gonna get a divorce and also the question of when. So timing then. Kailan ka makakakuha ng divorce and at the same time hindi maapektuhan yung immigration status mo dito, yung acquisition mo ng green card and later on the ability to naturalize. Okay? So to guide us in the discussion dito, you'll see there at the bottom of your screen it says how will divorce affect your immigration status? So we're going to talk about it in terms of when in a situation where there is a conditional, like you are a conditional resident, and also if you are a permanent green card. Of course, if you're already a U.S. citizen and then nag-divorce kayo, most likely wala namang masyadong effect yung divorce na yun sa immigration mo because you're already a U.S. citizen, except later on kung merong mapalabas na anomalya, or yung marriage, may involved ka sa marriage fraud. So then pero ibang usapan naman yung marriage fraud kasi nga ito ay divorce and immigration lang. Pero sometimes may connection din yan kasi let's say for example nag-divorce kayo and then it was an ugly divorce and lumabas pala siyam yung marriage ninyo. So meron pa rin, 'di ba, if ever. So but this time we're gonna focus on what is the effect of divorce if you are on a conditional status, conditional resident ka. Okay? Now, remember, pag sinabi natin conditional resident, ito yung situation na ang binigay lang sa'yo na green card mo ay conditional lang. And usually, it has a 2-year time period. So, kasi pag ang permanent green card naman ay 10 years na yon. So, pero bago ka, most of the time, bago ka magkaroon ng permanent green card, ano muna ang i-issue sa'yo, conditional residence muna, conditional status muna sa'yo. Okay, and then later on, if you prove that you can remove that, and we'll talk about that also, then you can get a green card, a permanent green card na, which is, after some time, and we will talk also about this, then you may be able to naturalize and become a U.S. citizen. Okay, so let's pull up our slide again. There. So let's talk about the effect of divorce sa immigration status if you are a conditional resident muna. Okay. Now, let's define this. What does it mean when an immigrant receives only conditional permanent residence, or if you are considered conditional resident? So ito yung yung mga nag-immigrate sa US based on a marriage that is less than 2 years old at the time of admission to the US, or at the time you change your at the time you receive your green card. Okay? So, ang nangyari dito, let's say for example, you are a foreign national and you married a U.S. citizen. Okay? So, and of course, it's either the petition is filed while you are still outside the country, nandito yung U.S. citizen spouse mo, or you're already here. You're already in the United States when the petition was filed. Ito yung I-130 mo. Family-based petition, immediate relative ang final sa'yo because you're a spouse, your immediate relative. So ngayon, if you are issued your green card, at the time of issuance of the green card, wala pang 2 years yung relationship nyo, yung kasal ninyo. Ang i-issue muna sa'yo yan ay yung 2-year conditional green card. Conditional green card mo yan. So, ibig sabihin, nag-expire yon. Pwedeng mag-expire yon pagka hindi mo nagawa yung tamang step. Pag hindi mo na-remove yung conditional status nun within the time period, then pag-expire yon. Pag nag-expire yon, mawawalan ka ng status. You have to go back to your country. Okay? So, kaya kailangan mahalaga talaga that you know your timeline here. So, ngayon, So let's say nga, less than 2 years pa yung marriage ninyo, and you were issued the green card. And how will you know that? Of course, you will see the date of the issuance dun sa green card mo. Kung less than 2 years na issue yon, then you most likely received a conditional permanent resident green card yun, or status. Yeah. So it will only last for 2 years. Okay, so what is the purpose for the conditional status? Why do they do this? Well, basically, syempre, ang USCIS naman, alam nila naman ang nangyayari, ano? They know what's going on. Um, so they want to test your marriage if it's a true marriage. Kung totoo ba yung relationship ninyo, kasi baka naman hindi. So that's why conditional mo nang ibigay sa'yo. You have to show proof that you are truly your relationship is authentic, that your marriage is real, and that you are actually living together as husband and wife. Yan. And also, of course, para mapatunayan that you did not enter into a sham marriage, yung fraud marriage, which is a big thing dito sa USCIS. So you don't want to be involved in that, in a marriage sham or fraud, because there's a real big consequences pag na-involve ka diyan. Okay. So, yun, conditional residence status. Now, anong mangyayari after 2 years, 'di ba? Like what I have mentioned earlier, bago matapos yung 2 years, so siguro mga 3 months, so let's say 90 days prior to, yung mag-expire yung 2-year period na yan, you have to file a petition sa USCIS to remove the condition. Okay? Usually, pag nag-file ka niyan, it has to be a joint petition signed by you and your spouse. The U.S. citizen spouse and the immigrant spouse. Kailangan yon. And of course, you have to submit evidence that you are actually still married with each other, and that you have you are living together as husband and wife. So you'll have to produce all this evidence, katulad ng mga joint ownership ng cars, ng mga properties, real property, to prove that nakatira ka sa isang bahay. Kasi gano'n naman talaga, di ba, pag mag-asawa. And actually, sasabi ko nga, the best proof of your relationship is yung kung nagkaroon kayo ng anak. Yan. So, sinasabit mo yung birth certificate ng anak ninyo, because yan ay very strong evidence that the marriage is real, di ba? Okay, so ngayon, pagka nag-file ka na nun, yung removal, papa-remove mo yung permanent, yung condition na yon. Pag na-approve yon, the USCIS will issue now a permanent green card. And yung permanent green card mo na yun, it will date back from the time na na-issue yung conditional green card mo. Okay? And why does it matter? It matter because doon mag-start compute ka ng date when you can already apply for naturalization, and we'll talk about that later. So we're just kind of defining this conditional resident status na yan. Of course, it's a reality naman, no? Sometimes that hindi nagwo-work ang marriage. And sasabihin mo, paano yan, attorney? Hindi na nagwo-work yung marriage namin. Hindi ko pa napapatanggal yung condition, yung conditional status niyan. Paano ko gagawin yun kung nire-require ng USCIS na kailangan mag-joint petition kami, kailangan pumirma yung spouse ko na we are happily married, we're still living together as husband and wife. Yun ang doon para mapatanggal. Na kami, attorney, nagde-divorce na kami, or actually nag-divorce na kami, or magfa-file pa lang kami ng divorce. So kaya po dito pumapasok yung importance nito, yung what is the effect of your divorce when it comes to your status as conditional resident. Will you be able to still get your permanent green card even if you already divorced your spouse before you even remove the conditional status? We will talk more about that in a little bit, okay? So, let's take for example, para maintindihan niyo mas lalo ano, I think, I already mentioned it, a lot, yung conditional resident status mo, if you obtain it through marriage, you have a limitation of 2 years. Pag hindi ka if you're unable to remove that, hinayaan mong mag-expire yan, you will have to go back home. So mag-start ka na naman all over ng ano mo, ng application mo. And it will be more challenging kasi siyempre meron ka ng, the USS will think, "Oh, what happened? Why didn't you, do this while you were in the United States?" So titingnan nila, mas magiging ano sila, meticulous in scrutinizing your application. I'm not saying you're not gonna be able to get it, but yun lang, magiging ano lang sila, i-scrutinize nila yung application mo. Okay? So, let me see, meron tayong comment dito. And yeah, babatiin natin siya maya in a little bit. Yeah, babatiin natin yung mga bumabati sa atin. Okay, so, the question is, of course, how would divorce affect someone's conditional resident status? Yun na, ang sinasabi ko kanina, no? Typically, if you're gonna remove the conditional status, kailangan mag-asawa kayo mag-file ng joint petition kayo, and then the other spouse will sign, and you will have to provide evidence that your relationship exists and it's real, and that you are living as husband and wife. You have to show proof of no ownership, joint ownership ng real property, ng personal property, bank accounts. Papakita mo lahat yung joint bank accounts mo. If you have a child, then the birth certificate is a very strong evidence. This is all to show that the USCA is that you're married, you married each other in good faith, and it is not a sham or fraud marriage. Okay, now, that's how it's gonna affect. Paano kung nag-divorce na kayo? How are you gonna be able to provide those evidence? What you can, hindi ka pwede magsinungaling sa USCIS. You can't say na, oh, we're still married, meron pa kami, we have this joint ownership. Sasabihin mo yun, pag nalaman ng USCIS na nagsinungaling ka, lalong hindi nila i-approve yung application mo, and maapektuhan pa yung mga future, if you try to file an application again in the future, or apply for a visa or a green card again in the future. So maapektuhan yun because nagsinungaling ka na sa USCIS, and yun ang pinakaayaw nila. You better tell the truth, or don't lie to them, because they'll figure out, they'll find out. They probably already know before you even step into the office of the officer of the USCIS officer. They probably already know, because they do their investigation before they invite you for an interview, or before they invite you to their office, and you will be asked questions. Yeah. So that is one, and then the other one is yung sa permanent green card. Okay? Ano naman ang epekto nun? What do you need to know about divorce and immigration if you already have a permanent green card? Ibig sabihin, yung if you obtain your green card through your marriage to a U.S. citizen or a permanent green card holder, then nalagpasan mo na yung 2-year period, yung yung conditional status na yon, or it could either be that when you apply to adjust your status, when you apply for your green card, you've been married for more than 2 years na. Remember yung sinabi ko kanina? If you were issued a green card, and at the time that it was issued, your marriage was less than 2 years, they will issue you conditional green card. But if the green card was issued, and you're already more than 2 years married, then they'll issue you now permanent green card. So in that way, in that case, you don't have to apply to remove the condition, because it's already a permanent green card. Most likely that'll be 10-year permanent green card. So, ano naman ang epekto ng divorce noon? If at the time of the divorce, you already have a green card, I mean permanent green card, meron pa bang epekto yon? Well, it has some effects, but pwedeng not necessarily maintaining your green card or obtaining a permanent green card because you already have it, but it may have an effect in terms of the timing when you're going to be able to naturalize. Because if you obtain your green card through marriage, okay, and you are still um, married with each other at the time you are now eligible to apply for naturalization, um, then yung titignan mo doon yung timing, no? So if you are still married at the time of you're eligible for naturalization, which means that 3 years yon, 3 years from the time you obtain your green card. And like I said, it dates back to the first the time of the issuance of the green card. So if you were issued a conditional green card and then later on, sorry, um, ang ano natin dito, allergic reaction sa ating environment. So let me just drink water. Okay, so um, if you obtain your green card through marriage, okay, you should be able to naturalize after 3 years of from the time the green card was issued. And when I say from the time the green card was issued, it doesn't it if you were issued a conditional first, titingnan nila yung first yung issuance ng conditional. But if you're already issued permanent resident card kagad, then at the time of the issuance of the permanent resident card. But like I said, kailangan kasal pa kayo para 3 years lang pwede ka na mag-naturalize, okay? Pero kung hindi na kayo kasal kasi nga let's say for example, ito nga nag-divorce kayo, um, during the marriage and let's say for example, 3 years pa lang kayong kasal, let's say 4 years pa lang kayong kasal, nag-divorce na kayo. 4 years pa lang yung green card mo, nag-divorce na kayo. Hindi ka pa rin makapag-file ng naturalization kasi this time divorce na kayo. So, you need to earn the 5-year period bago ka makapag-naturalize because you are now naturalizing not based on the marriage anymore kasi nga divorce na kayo. Okay? So, we will just pause for a short break and when we come back, pagpapatuloy natin ang ating discussion. So,
Hello to everyone from Roof Chamber Radio. I'm encouraging all of you to stay here, stay in this chamber. If you want to be inspired, you want to be encouraged, this is where it's at. And we're all going to need this, especially, in this new year that we're in. We don't know what's up for tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen next week or next month. But I believe that when you gather with people who believe in the power, the faithfulness and the goodness of the Lord Jesus Christ, there is power in that in itself. So stay here. Stay in the Roof Chamber Radio. Be inspired, be encouraged. And let's all go through life, not on our own, and more than just with each other, but let's speak the faith, let's share the faith, let's live by faith, and let's walk by faith. God bless you all, everyone from Roof Chamber Radio.
Hello everyone, my name is 𝘬𝘯𝘰𝘵 and I am the membership co-chair of the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce of Texas Greater Houston Region. Please watch the Bees Talk every second and fourth of the month via Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy, Facebook page and YouTube channel. See you all at TBT na!
and yes, we're back. Nandito pa rin tayo sa Usapang Off the Record. This is Aileen. I'm still here. And I'm glad that you stayed. And if you are just tuning in, we are actually discussing about the effect of divorce in your immigration status. If you are either holding a conditional residence or permanent, green card, yeah. Medyo, ano tayo ngayon hirap tayo magsalita. But we're gonna try to finish the show because we have a very interesting topic for today. And I'm pretty sure that you're tuning in because you wanted to know more about this or maybe you need the information. So, stick around, of course. Okay, so we're gonna try to finish this, like I've said. So let's go back to our discussion and also let me show you this. We discussed earlier what do you need to know about divorce and immigration when you are a conditional resident, and what do you need to know about divorce and immigration where you are permanent green card already. So this time naman, let's talk about how can you protect your immigration status, okay? But before we do that, meron tayong comment dito. Let's go ahead and greet them. Si Anna Barbin, she's my aunt and I believe she's still in Sorsogon. So, she's watching. So, thank you for watching and paki-hi na lang ako sa mga taga Sorsogon and of course yung mga kamag-anak natin diyan sa at kaibigan natin diyan sa Bicol. Magandang ano ba, tanghali. Tanghali na diyan, o magtatanghalian na diyan sa Bicol, 'yan. And I know we have some questions here. Sabi niya, let's go ahead and show this first question. Si Jewel Bacani, meron siyang question sa atin. Ang tanong niya, what if I am a victim of marriage fraud and I am a U.S. citizen? What can I do? Okay, so I think yeah, we can go ahead and talk about this question. Now, I know that I still have to discuss some more about the what do you need to do. Actually, that's the actually yung susunod nating topic says here, how can you protect your immigration status? But I think this is a really interesting question tong tanong ni Jewel. Okay, so Jewel, what if I'm a victim of marriage fraud and I am a U.S. citizen? What can I do? So let's give a little more facts. Siguro dagdagan natin yan para mas maintindihan natin. When you say marriage fraud, so when you say you're a victim of marriage fraud, that it means you are probably the U.S. citizen, a spouse, and then you got into you married somebody, a non U.S. or maybe a foreign national. You marry that person not for the purpose of because you have a relationship or you really wanted to create a family together, but you're just using your citizenship to so that the other person trying to immigrate to the United States will be able to immigrate here and be able to get green card and eventually become a U.S. citizen through your marriage. But the truth is, wala naman talaga kayong relationship. It's either yung iba dyan, binabayaran nila yung U.S. citizen and then they get married and then, they can get their green card and become a U.S. citizen later on. So, but of course, that is considered as that's a sham marriage. It's not real. Di kayo totoong mag-asawa, di ba? So, ginamit yun lang yung nagpakasal lang kayo so that the other person can immigrate to the United States. So, if you are, let's say for example, victim, when we say victim, you are really not aware na yun pala yung plano. So, let's say for example, pinaasa ka lang, akala mo totoo na mahal ka, and then, siyempre na-fall ka naman, you thought that it's real. So sa sarili mo sa'yo, it's it's authentic, it's real. Pero yung foreign national, yung spouse mo, yung other person, hindi pala. Ang balak pala niya is once once the foreign spouse, okay, received his or her green card, let's say either conditional or permanent, meron pala siyang ibang plano. It's either i-divorce ka na niya after siya let's say hintayin niya makakuha siya ng permanent green card, he or she will file a divorce dahil hindi naman talaga ginamit ka lang, in other words. So yun yung word natin, you were just used so that person can get a green card. So what can you do? As a matter of fact, you have you can do something, okay? Of course, you know that it's not it's a marriage fraud is of course a crime, so you might want to file a tip with the USCIS Immigration and Customs, yung USCIS or ICE, yung Immigration and Customs Enforcement natin. Let them know what happened, and of course the US government will initiate investigation, okay? And eventually, kapag napatunayan nila na it was really a sham marriage, then that person, the immigrant, may be placed in a deportation proceeding. So the immigrant will be in a removal proceeding. Ibig sabihin ng removal, yung pagka napatunayan nila na you really did something wrong, you commit the crime, then they can, remove you from the United States and, fly you back to where you came from, kung ano saan yung country mo. Yan. Now, however, with fraud on the record, ang mangyayari dyan, the others, yung ex-spouse mo, may not be able to obtain visa again to come to the United States because meron na siyang bad record. So makita nila yan. Pero syempre, pag-isipan mong mabuti yan because if you do that, you may also be placed into under investigation. Kasi syempre sisilipin nila, do you really not know that it was a sham marriage? So iimbestigahan ka din nila. At if ever may makuha silang information na you know that it's you know the plan at nagpagamit ka, then you can also be charged or criminally charged ng USCIS o ng ICE. So may involved ng government, ng US government kasi niloko mo, you're involved in marriage fraud. So ngayon siguro tatanong mo, ano naman ang magiging punishment? What are the possible punishments for those found guilty of marriage fraud? Pwede ba silang makulong? Well, under the federal law, pag marriage fraud yan, pwede kang at mapatunayan that you really committed marriage fraud, then you may be put in jail for about for not more than 5 years, and you will be fined for probably not more than 250,000, or could be both. Makukulong ka o magbabayad ka. Ngayon, hindi lang ikaw, isipin mo rin yung mga taong involved. Lahat ng mga taong tumulong or involved sa fraud na yon, visa fraud na yon, they can be also punished by the law and makulong sila or magbayad din sila ng fine. And apart from that, marami pang mga pwedeng charges na i-file against you and the others who may be involved in marriage fraud. It could be yung harboring of an alien, mga ganyan, and yung mga making false statements. So napakarami na pwede na lang may file sa'yo. Kaya you don't really want to be entangled with this kind of wrongdoings. Yeah, marriage fraud is, please don't ever, if you're considering that, akala nyo madali lang yan and nakalusot kayo. Let's say for example, nakakuha kayo nagpakasal kayo, no, and it's a marriage fraud. Nagpakasal kayo, nag-divorce, nakakuha na siya ng yung foreign spouse, nakakuha na siya ng green card, a permanent green card, then later on, nakapag-natural sa US citizen na siya. Tapos lumabas yung balita, wow, marriage fraud pala yun, so visa fraud. Pwede pa rin kayong habulin ng USCIS at bawiin yung either green card mo or citizenship mo. Pati yung mga taong tumulong sa'yo, they can also revoke their citizenship. Lahat ng mga nakinabang doon sa marriage fraud na yon ay pwedeng balikan at pwedeng bawiin ng green card or a citizenship. So you don't really want to be involved in that kind of crime. So kung sa tingin nyo, tagal na, 20 years na, hindi na masisilip yan, hindi na yun, hindi na makikita, nagkakamali kayo kasi pwede pa rin kayong balikan at kahit gaano katagal yan, they can always revoke your citizenship, deport you, and all the other people involved in the marriage fraud nyo na scheme. Okay? So, wag na lang po. Wag na nating subukan. Okay. Thank you for that. Very good question, Jewel. And I know you have another question here. But I'm going to answer that in a little bit. Let's just go first. Try to finish our discussions on ano na ngayon ang mangyayari. So let's say, for example, nalaman mo nga na okay nga. Now we know the possible effect of divorce sa immigration status if you are conditional, if you are a conditional resident and if you are a permanent resident. So ngayon, alamin naman natin, how can you protect your immigration? Ano ang pwede mong magawa? I think this is a better question, di ba? O sige, alam na natin that Yun nga, may puwedeng maapektuhan yung ano stay ko dito, puwedeng mawala, hindi ako makapag-green card, puwedeng hindi ako naturalize, or if ever magna-naturalize ako, matatagalan because of the divorce. Ano naman ngayon ang puwede kong magawa? Ano naman ang puwedeng solusyon, 'di ba? So yun ang gusto nating malaman sa ngayon. So ngayon, let's go first. Siyempre we have to identify first yung ano mo, yung situation mo. Let's say for example, you are a conditional resident. And again, katulad ng binanggit natin kanina, conditional resident, if you obtain your green card through marriage and you receive your green card, at the time you received it, the marriage was less than 2 years, so they issue your conditional green card. And of course, 2 years lang ang buhay niyan, so you have to file a removal ng condition and receive a permanent green card. A 10-year permanent green card mo na yon. So that you can, you will be eligible to naturalize after 3 years or after 5 years. So ngayon, anong mangyayari kapag ka nagkaroon ng divorce? Ano ang pwede niyang magawa naman? Now we have to qualify here, no? If the marriage, let's say, remember you're a conditional resident. If the marriage ends in a final divorce, before mo ma-file yung removal of condition, yung I-751 mo na petition, ibig sabihin, wala pang 2 years. Hindi ka pa nakakapag-file ng removal. Nag-file na ng divorce yung spouse, yung spouse mo. And then, let's say nag-file yan sa Texas. Texas, after 60 days from the time of filing of the divorce, of the petition for divorce, ay pwedeng ma-finalize ang divorce niyan. When the judge signed the divorce decree, ang pinakamaagi dyan is 60 days. That means 2 months, diba? So, pag sinaynan ng judge yung divorce decree ninyo na hindi ka pa nakapag-file ng removal of yung petition for removal ng conditional status mo, you will lose the ability to stay in the United States. Kasi walang panghahawakan na yun because the marriage has already been dissolved. Now again, that's a general rule. You may be able to find some exceptions to that, and that is why. But of course, that's case to case basis. So it's important for you to consult with an attorney para malaman mo if there are some exceptions na mag-a-apply sa case mo. Okay? Because otherwise, if it's just plain, if that's the only facts that you can provide, then wala ka ng panghahawakan. You cannot stay in the United States anymore because the marriage ay wala na-dissolve na. Okay? Yung sinasabi kong if you fall sa mga exceptions, then you may still be able to continue your stay here and be able to get your green card, your permanent green card, let's say for example by filing a waiver, yung tinatawag nating waiver of the joint filing requirement. Why? Because remember, in order for you to remove the conditional status there, you have to file jointly with your spouse. Naging na nga, bago ka nakapag-file ng application to remove or petition to remove the conditional status, na-divorce na kayo, nag-final divorce na. So, syempre, definitely for sure, your spouse, your ex-spouse now will not jointly file petition for you anymore. Wala na siyang pakialam sa'yo yan. So, sabi ko kanina, you may not be able to obtain your green card unless mag-focus sa exception. Yun nga yung may waiver nga na tinatawag tayo, waiver of the joint filing requirement. But you have to show proof, of course, that the marriage was, in the first place you entered the marriage in good faith, and that's a real marriage. It's not sham marriage. So you have to provide a lot more documents. So that's why it's best for you to not do this by yourself. Consult an attorney so that you do this one right. Because now you're now in a situation where mas maraming kailangang i-prove because hindi na nag-exist yung marriage mo. Paano mo papakukonvince sila na, it was a real marriage, it was, done in good faith. Kasi siyempre sabi ng USCIS, titignan nila yan, scrutinize nila yung application mo kasi sabi nila, baka naman binayaran mo to, baka naman siya marriage lang ito, kaya pagkatapos nun, naghiwalay na kayo, nag-file na kayo ng divorce. So, titignan mo yung situation na yun. So, that's a situation when, of course, when you, file your, when you get divorced, bago pa lang kayo mag-file ng removal of the conditional status mo, di ba? Now, what if naman, if the divorce proceedings are ongoing naman when you file your I-751, which is your, yung petition to remove condition. Ngayon, ang mangyayari diyan, of course, hindi pa kasal pa kayo, pending pa yung divorce ninyo, 'di ba? But you still have to tell the truth to the USCIS that you are already, no, you already have a pending divorce. So ngayon sabihin ng USCIS, "Oh, bakit naman kaya nagdi-divorce?" So i-scrutinize pa rin ng USCIS 'yan. Kasi, oo nga, 'di ba, remember, if you are still married, you have to file jointly. So yung other spouse mo, of course, kung pending na yung divorce ninyo, can you ask that your soon to be ex-spouse to join you in your petition? So magiging ano na, medyo complex yung case na yan kasi siyempre hindi ka na susuportahan nun, eh. Baka nga siya pa later on mag-withdraw, and we'll talk about that nung petition mo or nung application mo. But of course, there are ways to work around this with the USCIS. You may ask for more time or to obtain, of course, pwede mong sabihin niya, Mr. Officer, we have a pending divorce decree. Can we get more time? Kasi syempre, it's hard to really prove. Kasi when you try to remove the condition, hindi mo alam yung status mo noon eh. Am I gonna consider this I'm still married? Because legally speaking, you're still married. But of course, because of the divorce, you are terminating it for what reason? So mas medyo complicated. So you can ask for extra time from the sa USCIS if they will allow you, extra time matapusin mo na yung divorce, and you file your removal, and of course file documentations that may support your claim to get the permanent green card. But of course, at this point in time, medyo complicated na, I would advise you really to consult or hire an attorney. Don't do it on your own, because if you mess it up, it may be even harder to cure it, or baka mamaya, wala na tayong magawa, wala ka nang magawa, you'll have to be deported, you go back home. So mas mahirap solusyonan yon, okay? So like I said, in the worst case scenario, you may lose your immigrant status, and you become deportable. Mas mahirap yon. Kaya yes, if you are in a situation like that, it's a kind of complicated situation, it would be best for you to consult an attorney so that you will be helped, para hindi na maging complicated. Okay, so this is if this is what can you do to protect your immigration status if you're a conditional resident. So that's what you're gonna do. All right. Ngayon, what about naman if you are already in the process of naturalization? Okay, so kanina nabanggit natin kapag may green card ka na, and if your green card was issued based on marriage, 3 years lang ang bibilangin mo from the time the green card was issued, pwede ka na mag-file ng naturalization mo, okay? Because it's based on marriage. Of course, when you do that, you have to show proof that the marriage exists, it's it's authentic, that you are still happily married with each other, and you have to show all this evidence to support your claim. Pero kapag ka nag-divorce na kayo, okay? So you are now going to file for naturalization, no longer based on the marriage, because the marriage is gone. You're already divorced. Then your waiting time is longer. From 3 years, magiging 5 years na yon. Okay, so five years from the time the green card was issued. So bibilangin mo 'yon. Then puwede ka na mag-file ng naturalization mo, but, and you don't have to show proof of the marriage. Of course, you still have to submit all this evidence that you are married, that you were married in the past and you have a divorce. You have to file your divorce. You have to submit your divorce decree as well. But you are no longer asking the government to approve you, to allow you to naturalize based on that marriage. Hindi na. So, hindi mo na kailangan submit yung mga evidence of your relationship pa, hindi na. All you need to show proof is that yung, um, well, yung wala kang mga crime na will make you ineligible to naturalize or will make you deportable. Yun. And also yung pagbibilahin mo na ngayon yung mga number of days na lumabas ka ng bansa, kailangan hindi ka lumagpas doon sa allowed stay outside. So then you will be able to naturalize. Yun nga lang, magbibilang ka ng 5 years na. Medyo mahaba-haba lang naman ng konti. Additional 2 years lang naman. So yun ang ano doon, effect noon. And of course, um, so kailangan mong malaman yung, kaya pagka kasi ako nagvo-volunteer din ako sa sa Baker's Ripley I help with the naturalization. So we do this usually one Saturday of the month. Nagvo-volunteer. I go there. Usually it's half day. That's a pro bono service there. So what I do is I help people file their application by themselves. I don't file the application for them, but I help them. I guide them what to do when they do it on their own. So that's what I do there. So natural sense. So tinatanong ko yan lagi. So what I do, I look at can I see your green card? So I look into the green card. When was it issued? Are you naturalizing based on your marriage or not based on marriage? So pag sinabi niya, oh, you got your green card through marriage, so titignan ko yung tatanungin ko, are you still married? Yes, attorney. Oh, what are the proof? Do you have a house together? Do you have joint ownership, lease or whatever? So hinahanap ko yung mga yan. Pero pag sinabi ng attorney, we already divorced 2 years ago. Okay, so then you may still be able to naturalize, pero you haven't reached a 5-year period. So I will have to return the application ng tao because hindi pa siya eligible, because he is now or she is now naturalizing or filing an application to naturalize no longer based on the marriage. So kailangan niya yung 5-year period. So that's how it goes. Medyo humahaba lang yung waiting period ninyo. Okay? So that's how you can protect your immigration status in terms of naturalization. You need to show proof of the marriage. If it's based on the marriage, kahit na nag-divorce na kayo, pag nag-divorce kayo, you may still be able to naturalize but longer lang, and then you have to show, yung divorce decree ninyo and other documentations to show that you are eligible to naturalize. So that's what you can do to protect your immigration status in case you get divorced before the 3-year period and after the 3-year period for that purpose. Okay? All right. So, okay. Meron pa tayo ditong isa. Okay. So now, ito naman ang tanong. How can you protect your immigration status if ikaw naman ang U.S. citizen spouse or legal permanent resident spouse? So kanina, we discussed about yung on the side of the foreign national who's trying to immigrate here or maybe already here through marriage and trying to get a green card and eventually naturalized. Kayo naman, tinitingnan naman natin yung how can you protect your immigration, your right if you are what do you do now if you are the US citizen spouse or the LPR spouse naman nung tao and you and you are divorcing or you already divorce each other. Okay? So alright, so ibig sabihin, ikaw yung US citizen spouse, tapos meron kang immigrant na spouse, and then nag-divorce kayo. Okay? So ngayon, ano ang pwede mong magawa bilang ikaw yung US citizen spouse to immigrate? Now, remember, when you married a foreign national and you filed a petition for your foreign spouse to immigrate to the United States, you filed the application I-130. So it's either they're outside the country or they're already here. Okay. Now, in order for the USCIS to allow your foreign spouse to obtain green card, right, or to eventually get a visa and come over here, or get that green card once already here, or while waiting in the other country, you have to submit an affidavit of support. Okay, so that affidavit support, that's very important. Now, if you don't remember that, you should remember it by now, because in order for you to bring your spouse here, you should be able to show to the government that you can support your spouse. So then you submit all this income tax return, your W-2, your pay stubs, your paychecks, to show proof that you can actually support your spouse when she or he comes here in the United States, or when you stay together as husband and wife. And there is a part of that application that you are actually swearing, that you are going to support your spouse. So ngayon, um, as kasi requirement yun eh. You cannot, your application will not be approved kung hindi mo susuportan, if you're not gonna submit that affidavit of support. And of course, if you say affidavit, you swear to the government of the United States that you're going to provide support to your spouse. And well, what makes it a problem is pag nag-divorce na kayo, 'di ba? Now, if you are going to look into the form, yung affidavit of support, which is the I-864, kasi nga required yon, you are legally responsible to provide financial support dun sa spouse mo. And mataterminate lang yon if the one of the four scenarios or circumstances. Una, if the immigrant spouse dies or pass away. Syempre, wala ka nang support eh. So mataterminate na yung obligation mo to support. The other one is pag naging US citizen na yung immigrant spouse mo, hindi mo na kailangan bigyan ng support yan. And the other scenario is if your spouse has already been here and been working, and your spouse already accumulated about 40 work quarters na na-credit sa kanyang social security, then, or approximately sabi lang mga 10 years yan na nagtatrabaho na siya dito, nagbabay siya sa USCIS, ng social security niya, then hindi mo na siya kailangan pang mag-provide ng support. Or kapag bumalik siya sa bansa niya, permanently leave sa United States, hindi mo na kailangan bigyan ng support. So nowhere in that four options sinabi niyang divorce. Pag nag-divorce kayo, hindi niya sinabing hindi mo na kailangan i-support. So that's the real issue there. So paano yun? Divorce na kami, ako pang nagsusupport, because you promised that you will support this person until, either one of the four enumeration that I have mentioned, earlier ay mangyari. Otherwise, you will continuously provide support to your immigrant spouse. It's so unfair, attorney, di ba? It's so unfair. Sabi nga ng isang client, it's so unfair. Hindi na nga kami kasal, divorce na nga kami, napi-api na nga ako, blah, blah, blah. Why do I have to support that spouse, that person? Iniwan ako, sumama sa iba, things like that. Well, sad to say, syempre, nangako ka, susuportahan mo siya eh. But of course, you can probably do something about that also. Hindi naman sinasabing, ay wala na, lose hope ka na, wala ka ng pag-asa. Hindi naman sinasabing ganon. You may be able to do something. You can actually try to write a USCIS and withdraw your I-130 petition for alien relative. Kung hindi pa na-approve, like nag-file ka pa lang, hindi pa na-approve yung kanyang yung petition, naghiwalay na kayo, hindi mo naman kailangan mag-support. O kaya naman, ibig sabihin nun, kung hindi pa na-approve, let's say na-file mo pa lang yung I-130 petition mo sa kanya, wag ka na mag-file ng affidavit of support mo kasi naghiwalay na kayo eh, 'di ba? Nag-divorce na nga kayo. Wag ka na mag-file noon kasi what's the use? Why would you still want to support that your immigrant spouse kung hiwalay na kayo? Ngayon, Iba rin naman kung yung application na-submit na, yung I-130 petition mo na-submit na-approve na, for conditional or either conditional or permanent residence, mukhang mahirapan ka ng mag-back out. Siguro, puwede na lang is i-undo mo yung process with the USS, babawin mo yung green card niya. Pero, um, medyo mag-iisip-isip ka rin kung gagawin mo yun because, 'pag ang mangyayari diyan isipin ng USCIS, "Oh, wait, ba't mo ginagawa?" So, i-scrutinize nila yun, baka naman marriage fraud ito or sham, marriage sham. So, iimbestigahan and you'll never know what's gonna happen after that investigation. So, if you're in that kind of situation, consult an attorney. Best na you get the correct advice or correct legal advice and be able to, mayroong mag-guide sa'yo in the process. So, pag-iisipan mo mabuti talaga 'yan, okay? So, yeah. I think may tanong pa dito eh. Let's go ahead and address that one because we're running out of time. Imagine that. Okay, so Jewel, may tanong si Jewel Bakani. How about the minor children who immigrated along with a non-US parent? Would a divorce affect their status? Okay, so may mga instances tayo na yung immigrant spouse ay meron silang minor child. Okay, halimbawa nagpakasal, single mom, meron siyang minor child, nagpakasal siya sa US citizen, okay? So, siyempre dala-dala niya yung anak niya, 'di ba? So, anong mangyayari kapagka, let's say nag-divorce sila? So, kung ano yung kasi yung status ng bata nakuha niya yun say from the immigrant parent, 'di ba? So, yung bata will track that of the parent after a divorce. So, kung ano man yung mangyari sa parent, gano'n din yung sa bata. Ngayon kapagka nangyaring divorce bago pa mai-file yung petition for immediate relative, yung I-130 mo, yung spousal petition, yung petition for a spouse, then wala nang pag-asa, pati yung bata wala din. Everybody loses out. Pero if the divorce takes place kapagka the parent has already receive approval of the conditional resident, then gano'n din ang mangyayari dun sa bata. Meron din siyang conditional resident 'yan. So it will just track along yung sa kanyang parent. Okay? So yun ang doon sa mga bata. But of course, um, um, may mga din yun, may mga exception din yon. So let's say for example, yung bata was subjected to extreme hardship, ganyan, or cruelty or battered yung bata. So may mga waivers naman diyan na pwedeng gamitin. So if you think that you may be able to get a waiver, consult an attorney para matulungan kayo ng tama. Yun ang doon. Okay? So, wow, thank you, Jewel, sa mga questions na yan. At maraming salamat sa lahat mga nanood sa atin ngayon. We really had a good discussion today. We actually talk about what you need to know about divorce and immigration and how can you protect your immigration status. So, abangan ninyo yung mga susunod pa natin mga episodes. It's gonna be more of immigration cases, more of immigration increase and the issues. So every Friday 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. naman yan Saturday sa Philippines. Now, before ako magpaalam, I just wanna invite you dito sa aming speaker series. This is sponsored by the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce Greater Houston Region. This is gonna be on September 21st, Wednesday. And the topic is very interesting. Everything you want to do about investing in startups. Okay, so important yan. If you want to be investors, you want to be a business entrepreneurs or whatever it is that you're thinking about putting up your own business. This is a good information here, and it's for free. So join us at Courtyard by Marriott Houston Sugarland. The address is right over there, or you can Google the address. The other thing that I'd like to share with you before I say bye, we have a joint networking event with the Asian Chamber of Commerce and of course the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce Greater Houston Region. Yan naman ay gaganapin October 6 sa Jerry's Grill. So hanapin nyo kami doon at nandun ako for sure. Okay, so maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga nanood dito sa Usapang Off the Record. Salamat sa audience and listeners. To the President of Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy, 𝘱𝘰𝘠𝘕, maraming salamat. Ang Usapang Off the Record, of course, is brought to you by Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy and Ligot Dizon Law Firm. So I'll see you all next week sa isa na namang Usapang Off the Record. This is Aileen, everyone. I want you to enjoy your weekend. And of course, while you're enjoying your weekend, make sure that it's also worth it. Have fun, stay safe, and stay healthy. I'll see you next Friday. Bye for now. Oh, I'm not sure what's going on, huh? There.